Welcome to the Athens Armory in Athens, Ohio. My name is Paul Logue. I'm the planner for the City of Athens. The Athens Armory sits at the north end of Court Street at the intersection of Court and Carpenter Street. The building was built in 1914 and opened in 1917 in a dedication ceremony that began at the cusp of the United States entering World War I. The Armory was built by the Ohio National Guard for purposes of maintaining a National Guard presence in Southeast Ohio. To our knowledge, the Athens Armory was the last designed armory in Ohio prior to the beginning of World War I. The building has a very large room, which was originally the drill room, which, as you can see, has basketball hoops in it right now, and we utilize for some storage. It is a very large room with high ceilings, brick made from Southeast Ohio and mined from the mines that used to be behind the armory. Within the building are several rooms that were used by the Ohio National Guard, including the Commandant of the Guard. There is a magazine that stored munitions, and there was bunk rooms and restrooms for National Guard members. The building, although it may not look like it's in the best of shape right now, it was built to last. We've done some research on it and studies. The bones of the building are in good shape, but we do have some issues with paint and some crumbling mortar. But on the whole, it is sound for a building that's over 100 years old. About 4 years ago, the City of Athens paid to have the pitched roof re-roofed to make sure that no more water was coming in the building from the roof, and that has been a good investment. We've also repaired the flat roof at the front of the building, and we removed any asbestos that was remaining in the building. There is still some lead paint in the building. We did an Environmental Protection Agency study to analyze that, and the recommendation was to leave the paint in the building until the point at which we get the building back into a useful standard, because the paint will continue to peel unless we do so. The City of Athens purchased the building in the late 90s from the Ohio National Guard. At that point, the National Guard had no more use for the building. We purchased this as well as a motor pool building on Hudson Street on the east side of Athens. Since that time, the city has struggled with finding uses for it. In the early 2000s, there was a discussion and a study that was completed to consider the Athens County Historical Society moving into that building, but at that time they did not have the resources, and since that time they have relocated to a new location on Congress Street. The most recent effort we've done, the City of Athens received a grant from Ohio History Connection to do a market and use study for the building that was completed in 2016. Within that study, it recommends that the building be used, the main room, that drill room, the wide open room with the basketball hoops, be utilized as some sort of a large public assembly space that could be utilized for wedding receptions, proms, public events, speakers, music, dance, gallery type shows, anything of those along those lines. The basement areas, which is actually above ground, but is typically called the Great Basement, which is segmented into several different rooms. The market and use study recommended that be used as flexible office space that could be rented, or as a type of co-working location where people could rent if they work at home or are self-employed and they need a place besides their home to meet. As well, in the basement, it was identified that a commercial kitchen could be put in there that could be utilized by local restaurants and to have fresh baked goods for their stores and restaurants. And then in the upper floor of the mezzanine above the drill room, that could be utilized as high rent office space. Some of the walls in the basement are not original. They've been put up in the 1950s. There was some changes made to the building by the Ohio National Guard, including creating some additional walls using paneling and upright and studs to have some classrooms created and to create some new restrooms. But otherwise, the building is more or less the way it looked in the early when it was opened in 1917.